Greetings once again from quarantine, everybody. I know it's been a little bit since our last quarantine interview segment, but as you can see, we got Anthony Alfredo, Fast Pasta, with me today, driver of the 21 for Richard Childress Racing in real life, which is not that far away. We'll get to that. But the 33 in iRacing world virtually. We were just talking after we got our technical difficulties sorted out that you're already on your second iced coffee of the morning, and it's not even noon yet. That must be a crazy day that you got going on with this virtual media tour, huh?
Absolutely. I got up early. I've been excited for this. Still rolling on a little bit of a high after the iRacing win in the NASCAR Pro Invitational Series Saturday Night Thunder event at Dover. So I'm pumped about that. Excited to talk all things iRacing and real life racing because we're getting back soon, and obviously anything else.
Well, you mentioned that Saturday Night Thunder at Dover this past weekend, and I know the week before at Talladega, you were oh so close. And even in the weeks before, you just had a lot of bad luck, I feel like. You were aggressive because that's your nature in iRacing. That's pretty much everybody's nature in iRacing. But for you to win at Dover, was it more excitement or relief for you? Because I know how much it meant to you.
It was definitely both. As you mentioned, we ran up front every week so far in this series, and even the first Pro Invitational Series events when we were able to attempt to qualify for the big show, we made both of those. And then Saturday Night Thunder started, and we run up front in every one of those as well. Talladega, we were leading at the white flag and got turned. It was so close, and I thought we were going to get one there. We led a bunch of laps and ran up front the whole time, which isn't usually how super speedway racing goes. I mean, usually you're in the back, the front, up here, but we stayed up front the whole time. But we were able to make up for it at Dover, and that was the last place I thought we would. To be honest, heading into the week, I thought that was probably going to be my weakest track out of all the ones we were going to run at. But I put a ton of time in, as I have every other week, figured the track out, figured out how to save tires, and I was fast on short run, and I was really fast on the long run compared to others. So that's what it came down to on that green flag run, and we were able to get it done at the end.
How much time do you usually spend per week preparing for races? Because back before when this stuff wasn't really coming to an end per se, and there was no sense of NASCAR coming back in real life, Denny Hamlin actually told me that he spends more time on the sim rig. Granted, his is, $40,000, but he said he spends more time on the sim rig, almost 20 hours a week, preparing for the iRacing events on the weekends, and that's more time than he does in real life preparing. So where do you fall on that spectrum of things?
I definitely fall on the higher end. I think I make some of the most laps out of everyone, especially if you include online races, because at Dover this week I ran A fixed, which are Cup cars, and B fixed, which are the Xfinity cars. And I ran so much of that this week. I had, I believe, 4 5 to 6 hour streams in a row.
Wow.
On my Twitch channel, fast_pasta. So I won 4 out of 8 races leading into the Pro Invitational Series. The other 4 I didn't win. I finished either second or third. And I had the pole for half of them or started second or third. So I was really happy about that. I'm like, guys, I think this is it. I think we're going to have a good shot tonight. I'm feeling it. And Jimmy Mullis and Zach Novak, who race in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, they're professional iRacers. They helped me out a lot. I'm learning so much more about the sim. So I told them, I said, this is it, boys. We're going to get it. And sure enough, we were able to capitalize. They helped with the race strategy, and they've seen all those play out, because sometimes it could be a little bit different than real life as far as the decisions you make with pitting or how long you want to run. But usually it's pretty much the same. It just helps having someone who's done it before, give you confidence in the decisions and stuff. So it worked out for us. And as you mentioned, that was probably, like I said, 4 hours at 5 hour streams a day, easily 20 hours. And I mean, probably more than that. And I've done that every week just for these races. So it's been fun, but it's been worth it.
You can't, for whatever people say about you, you can't say that you didn't put in the work, right?
Absolutely not. Well, that's why it's so rewarding. People say it's just a game, which it's not. It's simulation. It's the closest thing to reality you can get. And anyone who tries it knows it's very difficult. And the other thing is, just like anything in life, when you put in that much time and effort, it's rewarding when you find success.
Yeah, no doubt. Also, I like the touch that you had afterwards on your Twitch channel. You had an impromptu hat dance. Was that planned or something? I really like that.
Oh, absolutely. So RCR was able to send me all our partner hats during quarantine, so that when I went on iRacing, I could do a hat dance live on my stream.
They saw it coming. They knew.
Yep. I had it lined up. I had them all next to my monitor stand, and I said, "All right, guys, when we win, we're gonna do the hat dance." And we were able to win the race. So I said, "Oh, can't forget the hat dance," because I looked down and I saw them all. And right from this seat of my SimSeats driving simulator, I put each hat on and did a little, number one in the air. And I actually sped it up and put it on socials too, so everyone was able to see the hat dance go down.
That was cool. I like that. Was that your idea, or was that RCR's idea to send you all the hats?
It was actually RCR's, because I had been winning a lot of online races, and when these big events started happening, it was great for our partners for me to be able to do that. And obviously, I wear whichever hat of the partner I'm wearing on that race day too, because I'm not wearing a helmet or fire suit and those kinds of things. But so it was just a great opportunity to do that, and I'd always wanted to do something like that because I'm always about being unique and doing something fun and different. And that was really cool to be able to do that, after winning a big event.
So I know that this time off, you've been on iRacing a ton, as you said, prepping, 5-6 hours a day. But even before this, before it was the in thing per se, you were really into the esports and the iRacing realm and space. Can you tell me a little bit about your background with the sim and iRacing in general? Because I know that you've been on this maybe as long as anybody in this space.
So actually, I haven't, and it's kind of like my real life racing career. I've started very late.
Yeah.
I only started racing 6 years ago. I was 15, and a year after I started racing in 2016 was when I signed up for iRacing. I got my first membership. But the funny thing is, I only ran one race between when I got my account and 2018. So in 2 years, I only ran one race because I had been using it to test the lot before I was going to race the late model or even the K&N car, and just kind of prepare myself for new tracks and get the visual. And it wasn't until then I started feeling out the online racing world and getting into that a whole lot more. So I'd say last year I raced a decent amount because I had been streaming on Twitch and I wanted to stream iRacing. So that's when I started that. And then especially during quarantine, I've been racing a ton.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun, be able to take advantage of this downtime. And the coolest part about it isn't even how long I've been on iRacing or, running the races on there online, but streaming has been a blast. It's something I've done for a really long time. And it's been really cool to see it kind of take off and be able to engage with the fans like that, be able to chat with them, answer questions, and, race live for them. They could see my pedals, my footwork, the wheel, and do all kinds of cool stuff like that. And it's pretty fun when you get to win one live and everyone's all excited. It's just a really unique platform.
That's what I was going to say too. I mean, I know you're going back to our K&N days and whatnot, but when you won on Saturday at Dover, I mean, your reaction was very pure. Like you were going nuts, and even you tweeted afterwards, like you talked so much because you were so excited and you couldn't get all you wanted to say in on the time limit, which I relate to hard. But that's cool about streaming. It's like you can literally just have the fan take a peek into your living room, your sim rig, and your life, and it's unfiltered commentary.
Absolutely. And it's really fun because I love to be able to clip on my stream. I can go back and I'll highlight a whole race like that. Maybe I won or something crazy happened. Maybe I didn't win. And I'll upload it to my YouTube channel, where at this point in time, I'm not able to do a lot of vlogging because there's really nothing to vlog. I'm not leaving the apartment. So I've been uploading my iRacing races to there so people could watch the replay. I did that with the Saturday Night Thunder race. And it's been cool to be able to do that and pull clips from the stream and upload it to my social media. And some people who may not be familiar with Twitch go, "Oh, wow, you can watch him race," or look, all these people, or he's talking to these people while he's racing, because some people didn't know you can do that. So it's been a lot of fun to get people to come into that live streaming community.
So since we have ample time to chat, thanks to the wonderful Josh who's on the Zoom call with us. Let's go all the way back to when you started this thing. Like you said, you actually kind of started the racing game somewhat late due to industry standard, I should say. But if the internet has this correct, which everything you read on the internet is right, we know that. You actually started wanting to race because you watched it on TV and you kind of tugged your parents' arm and said, "Hey, let's go do this." Is that right?
Yes. So the internet has that part correct. I think the coolest part of my story is the fact that I grew up a race fan like many others, and I feel like it's very relatable. It's funny because you go to the racetrack and there's people who are very excited to meet you, and I understand, what it's like to be a role model for people. It's really cool. It's surreal. But to me, I'm like, I was a fan just like you. I mean, I was in your same spot. I was walking up to people trying to get a hero card signed or this and that. That's why, to me, I feel like I relate to the fans. So it's not even that they relate to my story. Like, I relate because I'm nobody special. I've just been very fortunate. I've worked really hard to get here, and I've been very blessed with some amazing opportunities. But I just grew up in a racing family as far as being fans of it. Like, a little bit different, right? I wasn't born into the sport because someone was a driver and I've had someone to learn from, you know, growing up in that sense. I just grew up a race fan and loved it, wanted to get involved with it. So as you mentioned, I wanted to get involved and I was 15 years old. So the best step to take was get into a legend car. And there was one for sale. My dad and I went and looked at it, and the guy said, "How about you just come test it? I'll you know, bring it to this." It was actually a go-kart track. It was only a fifth mile. And he's like, "Just make some laps and see if you like it." And I found my passion instantly in my first few laps. And that was only 6 years ago. It feels like yesterday, but here I am at Richard Childress Racing, the most iconic team in the sport. And it's just a really cool story because to tell you how my parents were fans, they actually visited RCR 25 years ago as fans.
Wow.
So they went to the race shop, did the tour, just like everyone else loves to do when they visit North Carolina or go to these race shops. And here I am walking through the shop and seeing my name on top of a race car. I get goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah, geez. I was going to bring that up later, but since you took me there, let's do it now. I mean, not many people at your age, moreover, that have been racing for 6 years can say that they've raced for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's going to be a Hall of Famer sometime soon, and Richard Childress, who is currently a Hall of Famer. Like, you got to pinch yourself every day thinking about that.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought the junior motorsports part of things, because the coolest part about that was I grew up a Dale Jr. fan. So my third year racing, I sat down, had an interview, had the opportunity to drive a late model for them, which ultimately happened. I couldn't believe it. I was walking through, the halls of junior motorsports, seeing Dale Jr. signs, and you met Dale Jr. And it's like
this is my guy. Like, this is my guy.
I'm like, I didn't even just meet him. Like, this guy's going to be my boss. And I looked up to him. It's crazy, and it was just so cool. And it's been like that, every year, especially now being a part of the Richard Childress Racing family. Meeting Richard for the first time, going and having an interview and sitting down and meeting him was absolutely surreal. Did I lose you?
We're back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All good. Technical difficulties. Nothing.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
This is a nice thing when you do a live interview in person. You don't have this. You just got to make sure the mic works, and that's it.
I know. Like I said, we're all learning in quarantine about Zoom, so it's all good. Unedited, unfiltered commentary. That's what we get here.
Absolutely. But that's where I was going to end anyways. It's just been really cool, and I've been very fortunate. It's every day's like a dream, but I've just been working really hard to make the most of it.
You've got to have like some funny story of when you first actually met Dale Jr. And I mean, he was literally recruiting you to drive for him, or meeting RC too. Like, was there a moment when fan Anthony, like you said, who still lives inside of you, was kind of freaking out and your heart was beating out of your chest and your palms were sweaty and you're like, I can't believe I'm meeting Junior. He's my idol. I can't believe I'm driving for Richard Childress. He's a Hall of Famer. Like, do you have any funny stories that happened or anything?
That's a great question, actually. I can't think of one in particular right now. I think the biggest thing is when I was racing late models for Dale Jr., our third race weekend, which I actually really horrible start to the year, but I crashed on lap 1, our first race. So I don't even count that one. So basically my second race I completed, I should say. I won, and they were twin cars tour races at Hickory Motor Speedway, and I actually won the second one too. So I won back-to-back races. I swept the night. Coolest night ever. And I won the first race, and Kelly Earnhardt Miller and LW Miller were there with their family, and they were watching. Dale was at the racetrack. He was racing Cup at the time. This was the year he retired. And he tweeted out, he's like, "Wow, amazing night. Wish I could have been there." I'm like, Dale Jr. just tweeted that I won. Like, it's crazy. And then I won the next race, and he tweets again, "What a night. Can't believe it. Like, this is crazy." And I'm like, this is crazy that Dale Jr. is tweeting this. I'm like driving his race car. It's the coolest thing. And now, obviously at Richard Childress Racing, I think a cool story from that, it's not necessarily funny, but a really meaningful one to me, was finished the race at Auto Club, had a fantastic debut, and I got out of the race car, and the first person at the car was Richard Childress Racing, and beside him was Andy Petrie. And, to have the guy who hired Dale Earnhardt Jr. to drive for him, be at the car when I first got out, to say some pretty life-changing things was really cool to me. It meant a lot, and it's just one of those surreal moments that I'll never forget. Just something that will stick with me forever.
I feel like if I was sitting in the car, I'd literally just look up and be, yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yes. And then just do whatever he says like that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's what it's like. It's one of those things where you're just thinking to yourself, this is real life? This is insane to me. I mean, I grew up a fan. I grew up watching these guys on TV, and here I am competing against them, beating some of them. I mean, last year I ran less than half the Truck Series schedule, but I loved watching the Truck Series. And now at that point, I was watching Xfinity races like, oh man, I can't wait. One day I'm going to be racing in that series. I never knew it would be this year, not for an organization like this or anything. I'm just very blessed.
Absolutely. So I know you're from Ridgefield, which is actually not too far away from where my grandparents live in Connecticut and Greenwich. I feel like Ridgefield and that area of Connecticut is not the most like racing rich town. There's not that many people that are going to go to a local short track on a Saturday night or something. Granted, it's in the Northeast, and we know that's modified country, and racing is big up there. But I feel like Ridgefield in general was not super rich into racing heritage and history. So what was it like when you started racing in Ridgefield? Like, what did your friends say? And, I mean, obviously your parents were very supportive, but were your friends kind of like, what are you doing? Like, come back on the field with us and play stick and ball sports.
Yeah, so it's interesting you brought that up, because I always mention to people how where I'm from, it's not very common at all. Really, any racing, let alone NASCAR. I don't think I ever met another kid in school growing up that watched it. Maybe they've seen it, but they never watched it. Like they were a fan or they've been to a race. And that was, what made my story even more unique. Not just cool that I was a fan growing up and here I am. It's the fact that I came from a place where it's not even common necessarily, at least in my hometown specifically. So when I started racing, I had been playing lacrosse, football, and all the basic sports. I've always been a big action sports guy, like snowboarding, skateboarding, wakeboarding. I like ride dirt bikes. So anything with, high intensity, I enjoyed. But still, the stick and ball sports, as you mentioned, are kind of the general thing that what most kids play. And freshman year of high school was actually when I transitioned to online school. I started racing, and a lot of people, believe it or not, actually made fun of me when I started racing, because they didn't take it serious. They didn't know anything about it. They still don't. It's not like, when we talk, and I'm sure the people watching, we talk about Richard Childress, everyone knows who we're talking about, but some of them don't even know names like that, which is crazy to me. But it's just different world, different industry. There's sports I don't know anything about either, and it'd be unfair for me to judge or anything like that. But it was a little bit different, but I'm very proud of how far I've come, and I'd love to go back and see some people I haven't seen in a long time and kind of share my story to tell them about where I'm at now.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I know we talked about the late model stuff with JR Motorsports, and obviously before that getting into a Legends car and everything, but let's skip forward a little bit to South Boston 2018, I believe it was, K&N. The twin 100s or 150s that night. I think you won the first one in the 40 car.
Second one.
Okay. I was close. It was a 50-50 shot. But I remember that because I was there that night. That was your first K&N win. Was that the moment where you kind of said to yourself, okay, like I can do this. I have arrived. I've won a K&N race like against the competition. Or was it before when you won in a junior late model? Or are you still waiting for that moment? Like, because I was there with you, and I remember the elation that you had in Victory Lane and talking to you, and nobody could wipe the smile off your face, because I remember that night. It was pretty memorable.
Absolutely. And I believe it was the day before Mother's Day or sometime around it. So it was really cool to have my parents there, because I remember I dedicated to my mom. And The first race I wrecked really bad, completely my fault, took out a bunch of cars, and I was really disappointed in myself. So we had to roll out a backup, and I actually had the pole for the second race, but I had to start dead last, drove all the way through the field. I think there might have been one caution only, and it was early. So we flew around there. That car was flying, but it was a lot of uncertainty going into that race, driving a car I'd never driven, starting in the back. And I just had this fire in my stomach, I guess, because I made such a big mistake in the first race. I wanted to redeem myself, and I did just that. Drove from the back, passed for the lead on the last lap to win. It was a really cool race, one I'll never forget. And as you mentioned, racing for Junior Motorsports and getting those late model wins, I feel like that was my breakout year for me making a name for myself at that age. But I'm still doing that. I feel like it only repeats itself throughout your career. You take the next step, you still got to continue proving yourself at each level. So I think that's the biggest thing is you got to be successful at each level, work your way up, and then you set it at the next thing. That was a big moment for me. But now I've got new goals, different goals, and I just want to do that again here in the NASCAR Xfinity Series.
Well, you mentioned like going from level to level and setting goals and then achieving those and then moving up. So, and I know we're short on time, so I'll kind of run through it. But after that, you go in, and like you said, you run some truck races with DGR, some positives and some negatives there. And now you're with RCR running in the Xfinity Series. You had a great run at Auto Club, like you said. I guess the next logical progression step would be to dabble in the Cup Series, but that's a far way away. I assume that you kind of want to get your feet even more wet submerged, I guess you could say, in the Xfinity car and run up front with top 5, top 10 finishes and maybe even challenge for some wins in the 21 maybe later this year?
Absolutely. That's the plan. I know I have the people around me, the equipment to do it. And I'm really excited about it. I have a lot of confidence after Auto Club. There's still a ton for me to learn about these cars, about the new tracks, and continue building chemistry with the race team. But as we do that, we'll work our way into it. Like you said, we'll keep progressing, more top 10s, top 5s, top 3s, hopefully some wins. It could, at the very least, I just want to be in contention every week. That's the goal. But definitely some time before we dabble in the Cup Series, but hopefully that day is not too far away.
So let's clear up a myth. I'm not positive, but did Fast Pasta, like, where did it come from? Did it come from Alan Cavana in an interview when you were in the truck, or did it come from something before? Like, did you make it up? Let's clear it up.
So it actually originated my first year racing with Leaf Hawk Racing and a limited late model at Hickory Motor Speedway. I'm pretty sure it was Trevor Townsend announcing who was the first to ever say it, and it stuck from there on out. Alan called me the sauce last year, and that's where the contest starts. Like, not a conflict, but people are debating which they like more. But I have to roll Fast Pasta because it's the OG name. That's what started it all. I fully embraced it. My pit sign's me eating a bowl of pasta. We've got clothing and hats with it. It's awesome.
Yeah. They can check out all that cool merch and stuff like that. I agree. Like, the sauce is good, but with a name like yours, it has to be Fast Pasta, because the sauce, it's just kind of like, whatever. But you got fast in there. You got to have that. Right?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's slow pasta, but we try to limit that. It's usually not. I mean, we've definitely been fast recently, so we'll try to live up to it.
You're not supposed to tell them that. Come on.
On iRacing.
Fair. All right. Well, speaking of iRacing, we're getting back to the real racetrack soon. It's May 5th as we're recording this, so in a little under 2 weeks, we'll, knock on wood, if everything goes according to plan, hopefully be racing for real in the state of South Carolina at Darlington. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about it. When you heard, we heard rumblings leading up to the official announcement, but when you saw that NASCAR officially announced that there was going to be real racing on a real racetrack, albeit without fans, unfortunately, what'd you think?
I'm very excited about it. It's definitely unfortunate we won't have fans in the stands, but I know our great fans will be watching from home. And the biggest thing is it's a great opportunity for us to grow our sport during this time where, we'll be one of the only sporting events televised live right now. These iRacing events have been doing tremendously well. And to go back and race in real life will be awesome. And hopefully our 21 Team Chevy Camaro for Richard Childress Racing in particular will be as fast as Xfinity Internet. So we can roll out there with no practice, no qualifying, and by the drop of the green flag, get up towards the front and have a shot at the win.
I actually don't know like what the deal is going to be with qualifying and tech inspection. I don't really think anybody knows. And I don't know if you know this, so forgive me if I'm putting you in a weird spot here, but who's going to be in the 21 when we go to Darlington and Charlotte? Do we know? And do we know that yet?
We do. Those are details we're working out currently just because we have all had a racing schedule, but now things are kind of changing, but we're just playing it by ear with what we hear back from NASCAR because they're working really hard with our partners and the racetracks to organize events and kind of shift stuff around. So we're just making sure it all works logistically with our partners. Obviously, having rotating drivers in the car is important to make sure we get this right. But I'm hoping to have something more concrete for everyone this week.
Stay tuned to your social channels and we will hopefully find out. Hopefully we'll see you on track either at one of those two places. But if not, then hopefully very soon after. Until then, stay safe, stay inside. Hope you and yours are staying. safe and healthy during this time. Keep washing those hands and keep winning some iRaces. We got one more this weekend at Martinsville, so go out on top. What do you say?
That sounds perfect to me. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. All right, Anthony. Thanks, man.
Thank you.